Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this special edition World Ostomy Day podcast. I am super excited to have three amazing guests with me this week. So they've been on the show prior to, and I'm going to just tell a little bit of a story about each one of them, but I want you to absolutely go back and listen to their individual podcasts because these women are rock stars. I'm just telling you. So the first one is Jearlean Taylor. She's been a double ostomate for 51 years. She got her ostomies when she was 3 years old because of cancer. And so she's a cancer survivor on top of that, which is way super exciting. And guess what? She's a model. She models. She'll get up there and you should just go to her Instagram page. I'm gonna put the link below. That's all I'm gonna say. And you go check her out because she struts her stuff and she's just amazing. She's amazing. And then next up we got Stephanie Bension. Is it Bension? Bension? Because I always say Benson. Bension. And everybody does. I love it, right? So Stephanie has been in her ostomy since 2013. She also we talked about when we had her podcast, we were talking about dating in an ostomy, how to communicate with your support system, what to eat, what not to eat, and how, life changed for her and her perspective. And guys, she is a speaker. She gets up on stages and shares her story like no other. So we're going to hear a lot from her. And I want you to go back to hers as well. I will leave all of everyone's, the numbers, their episode numbers in the show notes below. So you can check them out. And then lastly, but not least, is Krista Nickerson. Now, Krista has had Crohn's since she was 9 years old, and she was an advocate for herself to be put into an ostomy so at the age of 26 so that she can live a better, livelier, healthier life. And so she was her own advocate. And she is also a teacher. So she gets up in front of the students all the time. So I got some questions to ask all of you. So welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this one's going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun one. So, each one of you brings something very, very special to the ostomy community. And I know that this is about World Ostomy Day. So I think the first question I want to ask each one of you is, what does World Ostomy Day mean to you? And Krista, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, for sure. World Ostomy Day, what it means to me is really just an opportunity to spread awareness, talk about my ostomy, and also just share my story and how, it's not a negative, it's been such a positive thing in my life because I know ostomies kind of get that bad rap. So just really spreading awareness that it's not always a negative thing.
I love that. That's beautiful. Stephanie, what about you?
For me, it means two things. First of all, it means survival. Every year that I'm still alive, I celebrate wholeheartedly. September is my birthday month, and World Ostomy Day is generally a little bit after that. And so I'm so happy to still be here, first of all. And that may seem, I don't know, whatever people want to call it, but it's my truth. So I'm, first of all, happy to be here. And secondly, visibility. I think it's very, very important for people to see my face specifically on World Ostomy Day, to see that there's somebody this age, this race, this ethnicity, this gender, this socioeconomic background, somebody similar to them who shares commonalities and has dealt with the health problems that maybe they are dealing with or going through, and understanding that they have a support system. So I definitely say survival and visibility.
Oh, I love that. And Jearlean, what about you?
For me, it means it's associated with my motto, which is I'm different to make a difference. And I think, World Ostomy Day is just being that voice. I believe we're all different to make a difference, right? And in the ostomy world, we're all just different. We come from different places, different ethnics, but just also like being that voice, right? And just showing other ostomies like we're walking in each other's shoes. We can share, things that we go through, but just not just where we live at, but just like Stephanie said, just being that face, for just the whole world. When you think of the whole world, you're like, the whole world. we're putting ourselves out there. At one point, we wasn't talking about it, didn't want to talk about it, but, just us being that voice and saying, hey, I look like you look like me. We share the same things. Did you have a leak today? Just like, different things. And so it means being that voice and that difference maker.
I love that. I love what each one of you had said, and I can hear all of that. And again, it's fun to have the community to be like you just said, hey, did you have a leak today? Or hey, what's going on over there? What are you wearing? Like, how do you cover this up? Or how do you talk in front of people? Or what do you do if it makes a noise in front of people? Like all those questions that we get asked all the time, right?
Yes.
And being the face, and you said something, Jearlean, where it was, we didn't talk about it prior. Like people didn't talk about it at all. And so people always were ashamed. And I think we hid. And I know even for myself personally, I hid. And this has really made me step out and, be a little louder about it for everybody else. So yes, I love all of those little answers. All right. So here we go. Here's a good one, because each one of you have your own little specialties. We have a speaker, a model, and a teacher, which means you're in front of people all the time. You're up on stages or in front of a classroom or getting pictures taken and walking the runway, whatever it is, you're in front of people all the time. How do you find your confidence in doing that? Jearlean, why don't we start with you, Miss Model?
Well, actually, modeling was a way I did find my confidence, because I was one that didn't talk about it. It was my secret. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want anyone to know. And I got into modeling by mistake or by accident. I say it's not an accident anymore, but what I decided to do was try something I never did before, right? But when you think of modeling and two ostomy was like, girl, what you thinking about?
Right?
You're trying to go into an industry that's kind of like, okay, you got to be this, you got to be that. And, I decided to just, step out on faith, most of all, again, and do something that I never did before. For one, I didn't have to really speak, I was just, you get up there and you model and you learn the industry, so modeling actually took me out of my comfort zone, right? And it showed me, Jearlean, listen, you can live a normal life. You can be a model, you can be a teacher, you can be a speaker, you can be many things, but it's up to you. Like you have to take that baby step, and so I took those baby steps and it turned into a passion. And I'm like, it's been 21 years now.
And you are, like I said, you're rocking it, guys. You got to go over to our Instagram, check it out. You have to. Stephanie, what about you? Where do you find your confidence? Because woman, you get up and speak in front of groups and stages and all that
people.
Stuff.
Yeah, and my favorite people to speak in front of are doctors, which is very, very interesting. I think I found my confidence initially because I didn't have the opportunity to hide when I found out I had Crohn's disease and colitis. I was 15 and I was in high school. And so I had missed so much school. Everybody was wildly concerned about me. And then when I got back, you're a teenager, you're dealing with puberty, you're dealing with body changes, and my body changes were already so different than everybody else's. But then I had situations where I was flatulent all the time because at this time I didn't have an ostomy and I was still pretty sick. And there's only so many times you can blame it on the nearest boy before they figure out it's you. And in high school, toilet humor is really funny to everybody. And then it kind of gets to a point where I felt like I was exhausting everybody else because I had a pillow I had to sit on. I was always cold. My classmates were always doing something to support me. And so initially I had no opportunity to even have a moment to myself. I was always around classmates or family or people who were concerned, but that support system is kind of how I found my confidence, right? And I think it's really important to note that even as a speaker in the industry, they will tell you don't walk into a room without knowing your price. For ostomates, I say don't walk into a conversation without knowing your comfort level. So for me, I am always honest. I want to give the most transparent answer possible. So I'm going to give you more information than you asked me for, but to my comfort level.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you as much as you need to know, and I don't have to expose myself to a level where I feel like I'm too vulnerable. And I think all of us, even being on this podcast, are being very vulnerable. It's not an easy thing to talk about. And again, toilet humor is a phrase for a reason. Everybody laughs at it, jokes about it. But I think for me, I have a limit. So I'm comfortable to like a 90%, and then that 10 is reserved for me.
Yep. And we all deserve that, right? We all deserve to have that little bit of a, I'm going to share so much, and then if I need to push it, I'll push it, but on my terms, not on anybody else's. So,
exactly.
yep, that is key.
Wow.
Krista, what about you?
Well, I mean, speaking in front of kids and speaking in front of adults is very different. It's a very different audience. I mean, with teaching, I find it's, I'm not talking about these type of topics. And, they're so small, we're having, lots of fun, but I guess where the confidence came is when I started speaking about my Crohn's journey and about my ostomy. That kind of just gave me it gave me confidence. I can't really explain it. I've always been a very quiet person, and where I wasn't somebody who would elaborate, even because I was diagnosed so young, that I often didn't complain. I often didn't tell anybody how I felt. So this kind of I felt like finally I had my ostomy, and it was like, okay, this is my chance to kind of speak up and finally use my voice for good, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of I just broke out of my shell, and I never felt more like myself and more confident since having my surgery, because I don't know, I just feel like myself. It's like just where I'm supposed to be.
You are exactly where you're supposed to be, and being being an advocate for yourself to not have to be in the pain that you were in prior to. Stephanie, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I actually have a question for Krista, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
What grade do you teach?
I teach kindergarten.
Okay, do you ever run into the situation where you have to explain to a child why they can't hug you around the waist?
I've had the students are really good about it. I'd always try to do like the side hug.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have my surgery in the middle of the school year. So the students were aware I was away for a long time, but when I came back to school, right, the kids were always really used to hugging me around my waist, but they thought I had a baby. They associated having surgery and all of that, having a baby. So they were very good with just, not giving me my space. But then after that, I kind of moved to a different school. So I was able to kind of set those boundaries, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. I run into that all the time. I have a bunch of little cousins who are very loving, and now they all know. But initially, kids just run straight at you, and they are as tall as the middle of you. And I'd have to be like, "Oh my God!" It's scary for a second because they're so rambunctious. And so I wanted to give them the side hug without them feeling any less love. And I'm like, "It's not you, I promise."
Well, it's good now with COVID too, because it's always the elbow, or we have other,
or the fist.
we do like cool like side kicks and stuff, right?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, I've got 2 grandchildren, and one of them's 3 years old, and there is no not hugging Gigi. Like she is chasing me down. She jumps on me. She has literally jumped on me.
Yeah, kids
and
do
like,
that.
well, hold on a second. Or I just wrestle her down the other way or something. She is rambunctious at a 3-year-old. And, and then I've got the 1-year-old who he's easy. He doesn't understand anything yet. So yeah. But yeah, kids are amazing. Kids are amazing. And it's great too. Some of the stories, some of the questions. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but I was at the beach this summer, and I had my cover on, my ostomy, and I was in a bikini, and the kids were like 8 years old. And one with the bunch a group I was with, and one of the kids just pointed at me and said, "What's that?" like just right out with it. What is that? And I went, it's how I go to the bath. It's where I poop. He just looks at me and goes, what? I go, yeah, I had cancer. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm not, I'm alive. I'm here. It's just, I poop differently. He goes, yeah, you're alive.
There's no filter.
None.
Right, and they're so curious anyway.
Yep, and they're just so awesome. They're just awesome. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to change it up a little bit then. So what questions are you ladies usually asked?
Well, a lot of people still ask because, they'll see my modeling pictures or they'll see me, maybe in a runway show. A lot of people want to know, how do you do it? Mm-hmm. How do you model? And, you have your ostomies and I'm more open now, more transparent now of like, okay, listen, this is my trick. And they're called high waist undergarments.
Mm-hmm. Thank goodness for them.
That's the trick, so that's a question people ask me all the time, because of course people see the outer, mm-hmm. and there's like, you have a bag? I can't tell. A lot of people, oh, I can't tell. I know. So we learned, well, I know it's me, you just learn how to camouflage it or disguise it. But that's something I've been wearing for a long, long time. And so I had to figure like kind of out how I was going to do that with modeling. And that's how I came upon like high waist undergarments. So people ask that question, how do you model and still have, two ostomies? I can't tell. Yeah.
That is a good one. That's a really good one. Stephanie, what about you?
The two things that happen to me the most are, first of all, it's not a question. It's just that complete stare at your midsection, trying to see if they can see the ostomy through your clothes and figure out how it all works by just giving you the death stare like they've got x-ray vision. That's number one. And number two that I get asked the most, probably because I'm more transparent about everything, is can I feel it when I use the restroom?
Yeah.
People ask me that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just tell them sometimes yes, sometimes no, which is why you always have to have a pouch on. Mm-hmm. It just literally depends. But yeah, people are really curious about how the whole thing works. And then I think the third question that I would get asked the most, but I think people think it's rude or they don't know where the lines are for asking questions, is how I put on the pouch and how I take it off and how I actually use the restroom with it. I know people want to know that. I'm considering doing a video on it sometime soon because they want to know. Like once you start telling them, they're like, oh my God, and they're completely engaged and so interested, but they're so afraid to ask.
They really are afraid to ask. Sometimes I get, can I see it? And I'm like, no.
Yes.
Like my best friends, I've been like, yeah, just peek. Don't touch it though, because there might, but let me check and see if there's poo on it first.
Right.
People will ask me and I'm like, yeah, let me just open my jeans here.
Here. Yeah, but they're actually like, can I see the stoma? Can I actually see? I want to see it. I'm like, don't touch it.
Right.
Run and wash your hands because that's just gross.
Yeah.
Krista, what about you? What's the question that you get asked the most?
I think one of the most common questions I get is usually about what kind of underwear or undergarments to wear. Mm-hmm. But then another one is, can you take a bath with an ostomy and you take your bag off when you take it? So that's usually the biggest question. I take a bath. I take baths often. So yeah, and that was one of my first questions too. When I was like, okay, I want an ostomy. Can I still take a bath?
There are nothing like baths with the bubbles and the salts and the candles and the glasses of wine and the book.
Yes.
Like there is nothing like a good old tub, seriously. Mm-hmm. So that's a great question. So you tell them, yes, I take a bath.
Yeah. No? And they often, because I know when I first had my ostomy, I was scared to move too quickly because I thought, it would just fall off, or because I know it's probably, getting in the water and, might think that it might affect the adhesive, but ostomy appliances, they're made differently than they were before. Yeah. And they're so durable. And even if I do end up taking a bath every day, I still don't have to change my ostomy pouch any more often than I would if I just had a shower or anything like that. So, and obviously I keep my bag on. I have an ileostomy, so
Yeah.
it would be very messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get in the tub sometimes and I'm like, well, if I take my bag off, I'll see these little almonds floating around in the water like at some point, because I got a colostomy, right? So I don't have an ileostomy, but I got little almond poops coming around. So I'm just like, do I want to float in my poops or do I want to put the bag on? Depends on my mood. No, just kidding. I can't. Usually the bag's on. I do shower without my bag, and that just feels good.
I do too.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
All right, so let's talk about this. What are your top 3 tips for taking care of your skin? Because we know that our skin around our ostomy can get really sensitive. It gets used to the appliances after time. But what are the top 3 things that you guys do for your skin?
I know one thing for me is because sometimes I'll push the button a little bit, the envelope a little bit, but I think one of the major things is like changing them, because I'll try to go that little 6th day or 7th day, trying to push the envelope, but I found that helps with, even a wafer can put like a wear and tear on your skin. So just kind of changing it more often, than we're supposed to. So I think that can also alleviate, like skin breakage. And, I know a lot of people with ostomies, they want to know, well, what do you use around the stoma? I think people use different things when they're cleansing around their stoma. I know for me, like soap and water works fine for me, but others may use something else. So I know one thing, just kind of keeping it change more often so you don't, have to worry about that skin irritation.
I agree with that. Krista, what about you?
I really think I've been really lucky with like my healthy peristomal skin. And I think just I'm pretty consistent. Like I only go 3 days with the same pouch. So I change every 3 days, and then I always have a bagless shower. So I think just giving my skin a break that way helps. And I think I like to use adhesive remover spray too. So it's not like pulling when you take off your old pouch.
That's a good call.
Yeah. I wasn't using it in the beginning, and I don't know why, but
and I think you also have to find the right adhesive for you too, because everybody's skin is different. And maybe Stephanie can use a certain type of adhesive, but maybe I can't. But, I found what works for me too, as far as the adhesive remover.
Yeah, that's definitely my top tip. Like if we're going top 3, I would definitely say try different things. And don't be afraid to try different things. I know it's like scary and you don't want to have to use extra things, and there's already so many pieces and parts. But if you find something that works really well for your skin, and you didn't know that thing existed, it just helps so much. Because my number 2 tip is definitely keep in touch with an ostomy nurse or a product specialist. For me, my company that I use is Hollister. So I'm always talking to my product specialist. She knows me by name. And I'm like, hey, my skin is looking like this. Well, what are we doing about this now? Because very recently, I was 88 pounds up until about a year ago. And so I started consistently having leaks like multiple times a day, every day. And it was frustrating me. I would have to clean my clothes, clean my sheets, clean everything. And then as soon as I would clean it, I would have another leak. So not only was I like mentally exhausted, then you've got waste on your skin, which is acidic. And so it was causing a whole bunch of problems. And so I talked to a nurse and my product specialist, and we found out that I had gained weight. So my skin was not as flat. My stomach was not as flat as it used to be. And I needed a barrier ring. Had never heard of a barrier ring and had an ostomy for years. Put that barrier ring on, it filled in the gap so nicely. And I have other products. They will send you products for free if you're just trying something out, so you don't have to invest a bunch of money into something right away. I'm with Jearlean. I'm a push it girl. I'm going to push it today, 6 or 7. So I think my 3rd tip is you can push it, but don't get lazy, or, you clean around your stoma. I clean with the alcohol pad very, very well. There's nothing left, no adhesive. Even if the adhesive is sticky, take the time to peel it off. Use your adhesive remover, all those little tidbits really, really help. And they make sure that your skin is healthy. And then sometimes I'm at the point where I've had my ostomy long enough. Sometimes I change it in my sleep and I want to be lazy, but no, I have to get up and do it properly.
Yes,
it's going to be a waste of a pouch. And I don't have time for that.
That is so true. I mean, how many times you just lay in there, you're like, I don't wanna. I still want to keep my eyes closed. I do not want to get up and deal with this right now. And you're like, if you don't, you're going to be sorry in another hour, because you're going to be rolling over and cleaning everything up.
Yeah, because at this point, I'm like major pain with that gun. Eyes closed, I know what to do.
Yes.
But if there's some waste there and you missed it, even if it's just a little bit and it creates a bubble and then it's, you have a leak, it's a waste of all the products you just used. So
yeah,
I think
and for me, I've had my ostomy like since I was 3, and the products that they have now, of course, they didn't have like back then. When I tell you, and like you said, is just try different things. You can always get samples, from whatever product, company or whatever, just to see what works. If it doesn't work, okay, I won't use it. But they've come a long way.
I can't even imagine for you, Jearlean. I can't even imagine back then, because they've made advancements even in the past 5 to 10 years.
Yes, right.
Like blowing this out of the water.
Yes, Stephanie. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they have made so many different advances. Just even in the few years that I've had it myself, and just watching, I can't even imagine.
Right, I know. Whew.
Yeah. Sometimes it's funny because sometimes people be like, what happens if the apocalypse happens? I go, I'm out because my ostomy will get me in trouble somewhere along the way. I can't get my supplies. Like, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm going home, going upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. So here we go. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about dressing for success. Let's talk about what to wear. So you guys talked a little bit before about undergarments, which thank goodness for Spanx and high-waisted underwear and all that other stuff, right? Because it keeps us all together. But what do you guys, what are your favorite things to wear?
I know I'm a model, but I'm not a model 24/7. Like, I love my t-shirt, pair of jeans, and flip-flops. Now, if I could wear flip-flops during the winter, I would, but I can't. And I think the most important thing for me, because when you say jeans, like people like, oh no, I can't wear jeans. How do you wear jeans? And for me, I wear stretch jeans. That way it will stretch with, if my bag might, protrude a little bit, it will stretch with the jeans, But I like clothes. I have a problem, and it's a bad problem. So for me, like, it depends where I'm going, what am I doing, because I wear anything, So, but my favorite is just, I like to be relaxed. I'm in a pair of jeans, t-shirt. If I'm going out for the evening, okay, I'll throw a pair of heels over that t-shirt and that jeans. If I'm going out to a cookout, I'll put my sneakers on with that jeans and t-shirt. I know my Instagram says different, but
real life reality, right? Real life,
yes, right. And I tell people too, excuse me, even though I wear high waist undergarments, and when I wear them firmly, because I'm used to wearing them. But I tell new ostomies or other people that, listen, you have to do what's comfortable for your stoma, right? And people's like, is that too tight on your stoma? Do you get ballooning? And I'm like, well, I keep my bag changed for one, so it doesn't get that way. But I think you have to see what's comfortable for your stoma, for your ostomy. And I have 2 of them. My urostomy, my bladder never stops going. So I have to keep it changed. I have to keep it drained. I'm sorry. So I think with clothing, it's just whatever you feel comfortable in. Well, if it's a pair of sweatpants, you can always dress that up and make it fashionable.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
You can put a blazer on it, a white shirt, put some heels. You can, it's up to you. It's up to you how your style is,
I love it. Stephanie, what about you?
I dress for the occasion. So I am just now finding like my fashionable style. And back in the day, I wasn't gonna tell y'all this, but I think it's important to share. Back in the day when I was modeling for a hot second and I was modeling with my ostomy, I think one of my proudest moments was I wore a bathing suit on the runway and it was exactly cut out above my stoma. And so it looked awesome. And I'm very quick to put on a short pouch. So if I need to, if I'm trying to make an outfit work and I know I'm going to be out for a couple of hours and this dress or this skirt or this outfit needs the smaller pouch, put that on. And then when you get home, change into your larger one for the nighttime and let it do what it do. But I very much dressed for the occasion. I went to the beach and found a swimsuit that really worked for me. I think that was my big fashion freak out, was being able to find the swimsuits that worked, you know. I guess I'm stuck in the 70s because high-waisted is also my best friend. And even with high-waisted things, I think Jearlean's exactly right. Depending on where your stoma falls on your waist, there are certain jeans that I cannot wear because the band falls directly where my stoma is and it's just too tight. The waist can't get through and it's painful and it's just unnecessary. But I love dresses. So a nice flowy dress, you can't tell if something is a little bit more form-fitted. It depends on my comfort level because I can put on the smaller pouch, but if it's one of those that like girls my age love bodycon dresses, and they are fly, don't get me wrong, but bodycon shows the pouch every time. And sometimes I'm just like, F it, I'm gonna wear it. People are gonna wonder what that is, and I'm still gonna be cute.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I have to go empty my bag every hour so that my dress is looking flat and I'm staying cute, I will sacrifice that moment to have that fashion moment because it makes me feel good to put on something that I could have put on 5, 8, 10 years ago and still feel the same. So if I got to put in a little extra effort, I'm going to do that because I need to feel that. I need to feel good about myself, you know? Yeah. So I definitely say high-waisted. I definitely say dresses and heels. If you're feeling a way about your ostomy, put on some heels. It'll make you feel differently.
Oh yeah, it definitely will. I used to have this line, like, if you think that if you put on 5 pounds, just put on a pair of heels. You're 5 inches taller and the weight is perfect for you.
Yeah,
Wear the heels.
Whatever you put in the mirror, like my rule of thumb is if I try on a new outfit, because I have this new rule also that I think was brought on by my ostomy, I don't buy anything that I don't love. You know how you're in the store and you're like, oh, I could make it work with maybe this that I have at home, or I could maybe, if I am in the store and I'm in the mirror and I don't dance, I can't buy that item.
See, Jearlean might need that little training.
I need help.
You just give her a little tip there. See, I'm like you, Jearlean. I used to have a closet. In the old house before we sold it, it was an old master bedroom. When the kids started moving out, I took over the old master bedroom, and I had rolling racks in there, and I was in there all the time, right? And then we moved to New York City, and my apartment, my closet went to like nothing. And so now I'm looking, I'm like, I have no clothes. Like, I have no clothing. I wear the same stuff all the time. I need to go shopping. That's the end of it. Krista, what about you?
Let's make that an outing.
Yeah, there we go. We'll do an outing. We'll go shopping. What about you? I know you love your dresses.
Yeah, for work, my favorite dresses and like a jumpsuit or a romper. I'm actually wearing one now. Anything with like a tie, I find at the waist, or anything that kind of, so then it kind of just flows out and it kind of just distracts any, the eye from trying to figure out where the ostomy is or what side it's on, or but yeah, those are my go-to, especially with teaching with this young kids, just easier.
Yeah, the waist tie is a really good point.
And just with products, they have like more accessories, like the wraps, Steph belt, just different things too. Like me and Stephanie, we love high waist, but another ostomy like, oh, I'll do wraps, ostomy wraps. So I think whatever works for your.
And I find even like layering, like Stephanie, you said, like, the tighter dresses, but it's like if I wear a tighter dress, sometimes I'll wear, like if I wear my jean jacket, it's a little bit heavier and, it kind of distracts. So I find I'll do things like that too. I don't know. I like
it's
sometimes tighter, but
yeah.
then
I love
some
scarves.
things.
I think it can still be extremely fashionable with a duster, and then people are not staring at you like, okay, what's going on there? You know, I think there's a lot of tricks of the trade that we have.
Yeah.
And I love us sharing them with each other because
That's
exactly my favorite.
Exactly what we need to be doing, right? Because I have Spanx, or not, Spanx has high-waisted thongs.
Oh, yeah, I have a couple pair.
Yeah,
I love them for modeling sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, high waist thongs. I don't like them, but they work when I'm modeling sometimes.
Yeah, so. I got an extra small by accident. That wasn't working right. I was creeping up a little too much. But it works. But you know, the undergarments do work, and I think sometimes too, we know what we have. We know what's going on underneath our clothing. Most people don't.
Right.
They have no idea what we have going on underneath everything. And I think we're a little more cautious or conscious of that. But I love all these tips, you know, your undergarments, your stealth belts, your throw on a jacket, wear it, just wear a dress and take the extra time. Or go ahead. You had something else you just thought of.
Yeah, I just thought of one, a strategically placed purse.
Oh yeah,
I have done that before. The crossbody to the front.
Oh, I have a lot of crossbodies.
Yeah,
it
will make you feel so comfortable.
Yep.
But that on sits right there. You know what I missed though? For a while, I don't anymore because I now love my high-waisted jeans because I love flares. So I'm only 5'3", so if I can put on flares and some heels, and I'm looking like I'm 5'7", maybe.
Yes, the flares.
Push 5'8" if I get 5-inch heels. I can look a little taller, but when low-waisted jeans were in, and I was like, there's no way I can wear a low-waisted jean because it's underneath,
right?
You know, or it sits in the wrong spot. I'm glad that those aren't like the big deal right now.
Yeah, they're trying to slide back in because it's weird. The 90s, 2000s are kind of coming back. And I will just be that person that's stuck in the 70s. And you guys understand that about Stephanie, and we will move on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Jearlean and I are stuck in the 80s where she was like, I wear tight fitted jeans. Oh, I was one of those putting on my Jordache jeans, laying on my bed, sucking it in, getting the coat hanger, the metal coat hanger and the hook just to pull them up. And I'm like, there, I'm in. Can't breathe, but I'm in.
Oh, what is it Beyonce said? If you don't jump to put jeans on, you don't feel my pain. You got to jump into them.
Got to get in there. You got to get it all in there. I love it. This has been so amazing. So let's say this. So this is probably the last question I have for each of you. What is your favorite thing about life in an ostomy?
I will say this, and you know, my ostomies actually helped save my life. It did. Mm-hmm. And I tell people it really, really did. It helped save my life. It gave me, you know, just like the doctor said, you know, you're gonna have a, you know, better life, you know, live longer. And, you know, it wasn't until later that I'm like, oh yeah, they were right, you know, but my ostomy doesn't dictate my life, because I say, listen, we're more than our ostomies, you know, but I'm grateful because I'm alive. I'm here on the podcast talking about, you know, sharing my journey because of, you know, my ostomies. I know people still have struggles, of course. You know, some days we're like, okay, listen, you better calm down. You know? But, you know, we still have those days too, you know, but I am grateful, you know, for my ostomy because it helped save my life, you know.
I love it. Stephanie, what about you?
Oh, I was hoping I would be last.
All right. Well, hang on then. Krista, what about you?
My favorite thing, if I had to pick just one, would be that my ostomy has given me so much freedom. Because like I said, I pushed for my ostomy, and it was because my quality of life was just crap. And I couldn't leave my house. I had to be by the bathroom all the time. And when I wasn't by the bathroom, or if I was going anywhere outside of my house, I had so much anxiety. Where's the next bathroom? Am I going to make it to the bathroom? Because most of the times I wasn't able to make it. So I guess just that my ostomy has given me so much freedom to just live my best life.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Crohn's disease, right? It just because I have an ostomy doesn't mean that my Crohn's disease is cured. So I still have, other struggles and due to my illness, but my ostomy has given me back so much freedom.
That just made my heart whole.
Yeah.
A little bit, a little extra, both of you. All right, Stephanie, girl, you're up.
If you had told younger Stephanie I was about to say this, I would not believe you at all. I have so many favorite things about having an ostomy. I didn't know until you just asked me right now, and they're all like running through my head. So I agree with Jearlean. It saved my life. That's one of my favorite things. I agree with Krista. Absolute freedom, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. It was the best. So one of the unusual things that I will throw in that I really love about having my ostomy is that it has made me more discerning in dating.
Okay.
When you have to reveal,
Stephanie, you brought up a whole new subject.
I was just like, yeah, we're not getting done with this now. Now we're gonna finish with the whole dating thing. So yes, and
when you have to reveal something so personal to somebody in a window where you're not deceiving them, but that you're at a certain comfort level, which for me is around date 3, that person immediately has to decide, can I be a part of this person's life with an ostomy? So you have to think about the future sooner than you probably thought you were going to have to think about the future. And I kind of grew up small and skinny, and I was smart and I thought I was cute, but I just wasn't what the guys desired at the time. I wasn't the Texas thick cornbread fed, everybody was doing the chicken head and shaking their booty, and I didn't have a booty. So I just got one like a couple months ago. So I made the mistake of paying attention to the guys who paid attention to me. And my ostomy has made me understand that I have choices.
Wow,
and I think I would have figured that out regardless, but it's made me figure it out faster. And it's made me have deeper communication with people when I'm talking about my life and when I'm looking at possibly dating somebody. It can't be superficial because I have an ostomy. So eventually we're going to have a tough conversation within the first month of us dating. Make or break, dude.
That's right. You're in, you're out.
Yeah. So that's a really interesting thing that has become one of my favorites, actually.
I love that. Oh my gosh, ladies.
Yeah.
I have loved this conversation, and I know we could all probably sit on here forever and a day. We just have to do a whole nother one of these at some point in time. But I just want to take a minute and thank each and every one of you for being here today, being so vulnerable and open, and just sharing the questions that we get asked and your stories. Seriously, truly, thank you.
Right. Thank you, LeeAnne. We appreciate it.
Yes, this was wonderful.
Yeah, it was really good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.